Hello. Hi. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Lady Winnie. I am back with some updates and to continue our conversation today. Ana Foiba. Anya Lady Winnie. Wache kwa dua kong dari. Wamedek lok manonak. Utima be. Afoy wonduchu. Afoy following program mamega. Key channel mamega. Atika nano Germany tie la kiramone gankono. Germany tika yenga de da. Pian woda jalmoni. Mete down mare. Ana for nen. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being present today. My name is Lady Winnie. I would like to continue our conversation about what is happening in Uganda. Transition or not. Legitimacy by force. Museveni wants Ugandans to love his son by force. And his son is following the same script that his father had when he came in 1980. Afoyo Boniface, Afoyo Biano. So Muhoozi Kainerugaba is using the same script that his father, that ushered in his father in 1980 when he 86 when he toppled Obote's government. But he doesn't know, he forgets that times have changed. He forgets that we are in an era of information, intelligence, and knowledge. He forgets that we cannot be fooled anymore with the internet in our hands. Muhoozi thinks that the way his father came in the night and killed people in Luero and came back in the morning and cried with them is how he can do the same thing today in this day and age. Okay? Atika wachi Muhoozi, tika tiki church pa wane, tika tiki system mayang wane obiano kere gamente. Ikare ma Museveni biano kator gamente po bore. Museveni biano chalu chatane di wo, biano to dana dida, tung Luero kacha. Kau dikudak dugu kok kedaro. Wai ya jomani dok raj do. Jonne wakumu ka chel kwa ngongongo karman ena yo to dana di wo ka do du di cheng ka bion ka kok ke dan ke joma wane nyo joma jogu to so mu ento Muhoozi pengeni kar do lokero konene Muhoozi no dan ma wi tiu unyomiere endong uyenyo ne marwata ki kar enini pien ki wachi timma gena di we wanna gi ki kare ma wanna gi donyi gamente ni oberu kare ma pat ki kare man matie kombedi chawani ma Muhoozi miera po bed ka teach ki jami ma yaw kele wanna gamente pien kubedi chani perwate kubedi chani chim teaching dano information teaching dano gimoy ken ma ini wajo down char yen tero gimoy ken na Museveni kero igene ulogo nyo kero kama ma no tiu tu tata dano ngeyoko dano tie ki la po gimoni mano eno temoni ki por ki gino kenne eno wel ko pedi chawani Muhoozi don kari po de romena Ugandans pedong romu ye pien gimoy keno waju gimoy keno temo tie kama waramu nongo information mada manyuru gina damo teme mapati magien wachu temeni. So no matter what Muhoozi does to try to get legitimacy, he's not able to, especially using his father's old script. If he were intelligent enough, he would have had his own set of ideas to do what he does. To tell you the truth, when Museveni and so on and so forth, Kagames, when they came into Uganda from the bush, like he talks about 1986, 1980, you know, Museveni came with nothing. He came with nothing. Basically, Museveni's whole life is a corruption. Muhoozi was raised on corruption. you saw picture. I've shared pictures of Museveni. Hello, Jonah. Welcome. Brian, welcome. Abdul, you're very welcome. So I'm saying that no matter what Muhoozi does now to try to clean up or look legitimate or make him feel like a president or whatever he wants to call himself is null and void, because his own existence is a part of corruption. He was raised on corrupted ideas. You know, the reason why Museveni, the reason why Muhoozi feels half a person and has to prove extra or prove ultra about himself is because he's hollow. As a person, he has not achieved much. As a person, he has nothing of his own to show. Everything Muhoozi has was achieved by his father, and in very corrupt and dubious ways. So I'll explain to you in detail. I think about it. Biano pa Muhoozi gi nyo biano pa wana gi ki ilum kachani. Ena ye achakime corruption in Uganda. Ko madodeda uchaka kibot en donyo pa Museveni gi gamente. Pian kar ma Museveni biano wadiang mo ma Museveni tie keru beru pere. Ineno. Museveni o chao ki kwa ludian kienping i northern Uganda Kenya wanigi tung Acholi region Karamoja moro dian ma ki kwa lu ne o medeki kwa lu jemi charo kwa lu Greenland Bank ulo Museveni gi gene Salim Salegi ki jo ario ki Kenya gu kwa lu bank eno ko ki ching one bank Muganda mama no ti Buganda kacha. Who's the name of the Greenland Bank owner? I'm saying that the origin of corruption is the ushering in of Museveni, and his total existence for 40 years has been on corrupt foundations. Talk less of election fraud, okay? He literally stole the elections. He has been part of manipulation of elections since 1980. Museveni has been part of that. Museveni was one of the people who stole Greenland Bank as a whole. Anybody who had assets or money in Greenland Bank lost access as soon as they stole it. Even the owner did whatever he could, go to court and try to get his bank back. He never made it. The cattle that was all over northern Uganda, eastern Uganda, central Uganda, west, everywhere, all the cattle was stolen by this same family. Muhoozi was raised on absolute corruption and fraud. He has never made anything of his own. He has never worked a day in his life. He has never earned anything except a certificate that was given to him by his father. Yes, Jonah Chigundu was the owner of Greenland Bank. That was one of the first major robbery that was done by the Museveni family. So talk less of trying to show the world that they're fighting corruption, and yet every existence of theirs in Uganda is built on a basis of corruption. Okay? So do not pay any attention to them trying to make or foil Anita Among into all of this. I blame her because she was too excited and wanted to amass as much as possible, but she did not know that Museveni was taking notes. Atika wachi Gianma Museveni gitika temneni ni kono gitika loinki corruption Uganda ni. Meron pe mada pian Gien ke ken kwogi uber kwame corruption. Diyan mago kwalo ki Uganda weng magilwoni megini mono chaka ki corruption. Muhoozi ki kome manaka yang PI winyu ni okwano unyo te mugimani. Certificate maya no me monyi wona ek choyo kumaene kameo ire. Neno baby no ngoni uchero kwano kamoni unyo no certificate kumano unyo no la what a former prime minister Jonah, who is the former prime minister whose son used to take exams for Muhoozi? If you have it, you can list it. I forget his name. I remember, but I forget his name. What a prime minister money nye we are there with nyero. What a Museveni give benero ne. Ana ela timpenyet Muhoozi kamakilwoni Sandhurst. En gangkwan pa mon man tiar ka kwan kere wako chani. Madong kuno dong no jamine tek pian ki Uganda Kenyu. down chalo Andrew Mwenda gina ino timu penyet Muhoozi neno ka peny motie nyokwan motie gina itimu kwan nyo penyet Muhoozi kita wachi kere ni certificate no kichoyo ki gang Jami gimoke yes Bukenya Jolly thank you la cho maki luoni Bukenya ma Museveni obine wore madit eno ena yetimu peny it Muhoozi ikamaki luoni Sandhurst. Okay, so I'm saying that Muhoozi, his whole life is built on corruption. His father's whole political existence is built on corruption. So to say that they're fighting corruption, it's like him locking himself in a cage with a lion and saying that he's fighting the lion. Thank you, Madam Teacher. That was something I took from Madam Teacher from Mukono. Okay, so even if they want to look like they're doing the right thing, corruption is in the house of Museveni. How many of you have seen Museveni write a check for any reason? Never. He's always giving cash. He's always giving sacks of cash or brown envelopes. Museveni manaka yang pemiu chene makichoy karatany makichoy ni check. Chene pa Museveni well beru cash. Maki miu ki bacha unyo ki pimu ki gunia. Anyang babano beru paymaster. Imoy. Inero. Gamente pa Museveni manaka yang pe gamente ma tieki accountability. And make why gimoni utime kuman kilop korni. Pay lubino. Pay lubino. Pay lubino. So, Jonah, thank you. Vice President Bukenya. Bukenya's son, the oldest son who was killed by Museveni, was the one who took exams for Muhoozi when he was at Sandhurst, going through the military school at Sandhurst. So this is a guy who has never achieved anything. Okay? Everything from his childhood was handed to him by his father. Certificates signed, promotions and positions given by his father. Had it been that Muhoozi had been a child who even was allowed to just go and play football like the rest, you know, a lot of these games and the things that we did as children gave us skills to, you know, come up with solutions when time came when we needed them. But this is a child who was handed to every single thing. Even at this day and age, Muhoozi moves from position to position because his father awards them, not because he has earned them. So he literally is an empty vessel talking about punishing people for crimes that he and his family actually committed. Okay, so let's go into some security alerts and then eventually we'll go into other areas of discussion eventually. Okay, so I have several security alerts that pertain to several different areas. Let me just go into a couple here regarding how this fraud thing is going about, the corruption. Okay, okay. So awachi wakati at going again security alert enini piana tike de mano na kan America kari kadore wadore local corruption pa Latin money. Okay, State House. Hold on 1 second please. Okay, let's talk about Anita Among. Okay, Anita Among. So, being a speaker, as we know, Museveni gave Anita all the tools to do whatever she does or what she did. It goes to say that anybody who is going to come as a speaker has to perform the way Anita performed, because that is how Museveni does things. And for them to be eligible for the job or to do the job, they must follow orders from Museveni. Okay? So ati wachi, Speaker Among kuberichani kitika gono ni pian anti-corruption kono kingonga. Pian kiwachi kimaro ento position pa speaker ni Museveni ayar dano. Doc requirement me beru speaker no miere ti ki Museveni kita en yo miero kede manyuti ni kwanya mong makitika kwanyo neni peter ni corruption do bitumo kwa Uganda pien wa jal magi kwanyo ni kiketi o both la kuobati bene kita speaker berlike la kuobati maki miyo kede sanction mapege yeno cherlo mawagone. So Speaker Mong is being punished because of what she did, but even the guy next in line or both has the same crimes and must perform like a speaker. So anybody in that seat, it doesn't matter whether it will be Among or it will be who, they must perform to Museveni's fraud and corruption just like Anita Among has done. Anita Among may have gone overboard because she grew too wild in her activities, but it doesn't negate the fact that this corruption, Museveni has supported Anita Among, including at a speech where he said, leave my daughter alone. At least what she's stolen, she has used for herself. She has deposited in Uganda or used in Uganda to build all these things. Negating the fact that services are deprived of certain people who could benefit from what she has misused or made personal gain. Atia wachi koperichani kamaki wa speaker kono niki yaro both en ben la kuo record nyuru ni en ben kwa lubati mi adek aliba dek kita mi adek to kita Anita Among ben kwa lukeri batne o wego donki sanction en kunyoni manyuti beru kaberi eni terni wangitimu gina Museveni gimiero. Okay, wang maitimu. I have a video that I put on my page from Mrs. Zoe Bakoko. I wonder if we can play those videos. I take a video, mami ete anyuti wu. She a gone bene. Okay? Video manyuru kuoma naga yang Museveni gu ero I area makilwoni National Social Security Fund. I want to speak about a video that Miss Bakoko Zoe, who is now a refugee in the United States or an asylum seeker, showed how NSS, the National Social Security Fund, was depleted by the Museveni family. I'm talking only them and not anywhere else or anyone else. So when they speak of corruption, it is truly because they want to show the Western world, because there's a lot of pressure for Museveni to give accountability of certain things. Now they want to make sense of it to the rest of the world, that they're doing what they can, but yet they are and they continue to be the only source of corruption in Uganda. Okay, so I made a new video enini manyuru kita yang chana unwin NSSF chana NSSF Museveni gi ki jo family neke ken gu kwalo chana enyo li weng gian ke ken yo kwalo. So abi gonyi wu waka ket ko playing. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to try to play this and see how I can chime in and, you know, explain here and there. Okay, so here's an interview by Professor Ali Madi, where he interviews Zoe Bakoko in the United States, where she's seeking asylum. Okay, let's try this. If we have any issues, we can stop it and do something else. Okay.
Who were my brothers to run the fund after I had sacked these people?
Sack is in
firing. Yeah, okay. Firing.
But you suspended them.
But I had just asked them to step aside so that the investigations could be done.
And what did you tell Parliament?
Of course, I went to Parliament. I made sure I wrote down my answers and response, and we produced over 300 copies so that each member of Parliament could get a copy. And I took all this to the clerk to Parliament, who eventually passed it to Parliament. And when the session started, I recollect one of my colleagues was asked to answer first, and he was fumbling, and the speaker decided to defer. And so I was called.
So this is a period where there was a time when we heard about NSSF being super shaken up, where there was questions about money, or people were trying to withdraw from their NSSF deposits, but they couldn't. So Zoe Bakoko, who was then new executive appointed, was called to parliament to come and explain where these funds or what's going on. Okay, so immediately when she was appointed, she learned that certain 5 billion a day was being spent. I think I'm going on to the second video first.
People.
5 billion
People.
of money was siphoned. $5 million was siphoned every month from the NSSF and was taken away by the Museveni family. Salim Saleh, Museveni's children, apparently he has several of them, one of them called Hakim, which we have never heard of. He has kids all over Uganda. Janet Museveni, and all they did was write sheets of paper, just like a book, a piece of paper. You write, you tear it, you know, those exercise books from Uganda. Tear it and hand it to somebody to go and collect money. So at that time, she realized that the money was disappearing. And what she did was to set aside some of the people who are misusing this money, so that she can track down who is using the money for what. Okay? So let me play it some more.
Was giving good policy guide.
And so she was called to parliament to go and speak about what is going on with the funds. And because one of the people who she sent to go and speak was just mumbling and not speaking correctly, then they called her to go and speak. Okay? Atika wachi man video ini nyuru kama chene kita chene biru enkere ingo kama kilwoni National Social Security Fund. Dago makilwoni zoe bakoko ni kombedi chao ni beri America pian Museveni giumeru neko pian loga dao katim kikuno mkuntirni jopa Museveni gi family gi kikome giana yoberka kwa luciente maa kikwene i National Social Security Fund gien kikom gi magichoy warga wore Salim Saleh Janet Museveni kilutien pa Museveni mukene piana winyi lutien na duota wa moni manye Hakim. Okay? Okay.
Leadership. And now the money continued accumulating. It was going in trillions. And then we started getting cheats. They called them cheats.
So, ikarma ene donyo chi ichoro jomani ro wai kong un kong do wek tichoro wek anen kong kama chene ni tika cherie chene ocharo don igen makilwon in National Social Security Fund. So after she set aside some people who are working in the National Social Security Fund who she believed were mismanaging the funds, the money started to grow into trillions. Okay?
How do you spell that?
CHITS.
Okay.
You know, pieces of paper and from the president's office, from his wife's office, the first lady's office.
Janet Museveni.
Yes. And then his brother Salim Saleh invited us several times to his home. Me and Onegio Bell, who was the chairman of the fund, and the
and he's under arrest now, I understand.
Yes, he is. And for me and Onegio Bell, our answer was clear.
Answer to what?
Because the Salim Saleh was asking us for money.
Money
I don't
from the
know
fund.
where the money is. Yes, money from the fund. He says, Minister, you are the richest minister in this country. If you actually summon anybody, they should come running to you. I said, how do I become the richest minister? I don't know. Because you had National Social Security Fund, give me the money. I said, I don't have the money.
Former Minister Okoko, you hold that thought. We're going to continue in a part 2 of this interview. But we are bringing a close to today's part 1. And so save that thought. And when we do our follow-up interview next week, we will inform readers about Follow the Money. Thank you very much for leading us. We can now see where some of this money is going. And viewers, this is a program that we are going to be doing on a regular basis now, following the money in African countries. And we're very delighted that our guest today was former Minister Bokoko. Thank you so much. And obviously, we look forward to continuing part 2, wherein you will tell us where this money was going, who was benefiting from this money. But let me ask you, you're not in Uganda anymore. You're obviously in the United States, and not out of choice.
Of course, I'm not here out of choice. I came to the Committee on the Status of Women. I represent a non-governmental organization in the UN, and I had been attending the UN for all those years I was in parliament and I was the minister of gender. And so when I came in 2007, actually, to the UN, I had guests to take to the embassy who wanted to invest in Uganda. And after the meeting we had, then I was requested to go back in the embassy. And I was told by the ambassador and 2 other people that don't go back because you are going to be the sacrificial lamb.
Okay, so
I was very confused because I was not prepared to come to the US. I left all my documents back home. I didn't have enough clothing that I came with.
Which ambassador gave you that?
At the time, I think it was Ambassador Butagira.
So actually he was looking out for your...
He was looking out for me, and I am very, very grateful. Very, very grateful to him.
So you're not living here in the life of luxury with millions of dollars from the National Social Security Fund?
No, I am not. Yeah, no. I'm struggling, but I'm happy. The government has been taking care of me, and I'm grateful to the people of the United States.
The U.S. government.
The U.S. government for taking care of me.
Okay.
And I believe that I'm alive today because I still have a role to play. And I believe that once a leader, always a leader. And so I'm going to play my role in educating our people and making sure that they understand exactly what a good government and a bad government is.
So you're officially exiled in the United States?
Yes, I am.
And you applied for exile?
That's true.
And you explained your circumstance to the American government?
Yes, I did.
Including what happened at the
yes, that was the major issue.
So the U.S. is aware of what happened with the National Social Security Fund?
They are. That's how they were able to give me my permanent residence here.
And you will be able to prove everything you say if the appropriate time and the appropriate media should ever arise.
True. It will. The time will come.
Because at one time they had accused you of mismanaging the fund.
It's so funny. The media says I mismanaged the National Social Security Fund. The president says I wasn't competent enough to manage the fund because it was too big, because I was just a nurse and I was this village girl from Arua. But if I was a nurse and that village girl from Arua, how could he, in 3 or 4 reshuffles, keep me in the same position
for
5 years?
But on that note, I now want you to save that, as I said earlier, for part 2.
Thank you.
We will certainly continue this. And viewers, thank you for being with us. And we do promise you that we will try to visit many African countries and follow the money in those countries, just as we started today with former Minister Bokoko. Thank you so much.
Thank you, viewers.
Okay, so that video is available publicly, and you can find it. You can look it up. It's called Sahara TV. It was online. You can find it whenever you want. In the video, Zoe Bakoko is now exiled in the United States. And when she was preparing to leave, after finishing her conference here in the United States, the ambassador at the time heard that they had said they were going to do something to her. They were supposed to kill Zoe as soon as she went back to Uganda, because that's how they perform. Eventually, the ambassador told her not to go back because she would be the sacrificial lamb. That is how these people have been existing. As you heard, the money was taken by Museveni's family. Salim Saleh, Janet Museveni, the president's office, Museveni's office, and his children, including one of them called Hakim. So when I say that Muhoozi, Museveni, and this whole government of theirs is built on corruption, I mean it. It is the time that such evidence and information is now used by a lot of people especially countries that are having Museveni account for what they've done, that they need information like this. So Zoe Bakoko is in the right place where we will get her when we need her to testify against these people. That is why the pressure in State House is endless. Okay, they are feeling a lot of pressure. That's why they must do what they're doing. They must eat amongst themselves, even though they are only affecting Ugandans. You notice that there's no Rwandese caught up in any of this. No, because they want to show that it is the Ugandans who are in trouble and they're saving their Rwandese people. Achika wachi dago enimanye Zoe Bakokoni Ignatatika temo interview and inye Alimari. Mununge Alimari. Alimari's family is a very prominent and a well-known family from northern Uganda. So most people will understand or know who they are. Alimari berkatimo interview kit dago makilwoni Zoe Bakoko. Mayao beru dano ma la Dirtma Museveni yarni obed executive director obed la Dirtma National Social Security Fund. Dago ni tika teto kita chano beru ka rwen kereki NSSF. Dago ni waju ni ikarima ende no dong ni chana tika rwen yubo ka kachana mabe weko dong chana per rwen ibienu wako ya America teach mo mukane mapat ento karma dong en mire de dog gang katimu teach mukane ambassador makanyo wachi we jalwe kai dok Uganda kibineri wako kibineri kai dok Uganda atika lega ni kai mire kwa beto ya America kany and neno dago ni wachi watin payment dok payment kwanyo wala ket ki Uganda iberu kita eni binu kere ni ichako kwa manyen ma eni dok go bod government mi America wachi anba kimir yenya Museveni tika yenya mi anega Uganda pedaro mu dok en dong government mi America dong miyo irengo status kimi yere katany me beri America kuberi chane dong chok beru ngo menencha long ti citizen so kwa me corruption oberu kori kwa pa Museveni gi ijammi weng mai neno ini nen kanene corruption no gina pira tekid gi Museveni kuberi chawani ochero swearing in wala bon karta DR form merupe corruption. I'm saying that just to show you how everything about this family is all corrupt from day one. Museveni went and swore in without DR forms. If Muhoozi wanted to perform any more drama, that would be where he should start. Okay? But in any case, they are punishing only Ugandan people, not any of the Rwandese, because that is how Museveni operates. Even Oboth, he's going to use to pass fake bills or bills that are harmful or pass money here and there, according to orders of Museveni. And indeed, Oboth will be thrown like Anita Among if she doesn't die first. If he doesn't die first. Anita Among has been poisoned. Anita Among is embarrassed publicly every day. Anita Among, her wealth, you know, usually when cars are picked up for investigation and so on and so forth, license plates are taken off or covered. Anita Among's license plates are displayed completely because they want to make it a total embarrassment to try to stop, to expose the evils in the government, as if to say Muhoozi is now cleaning up for bad things that have been happening and is going to clean up, and so he wants us to praise him. Ginma Muhoozi tikatemunene me yo muchwinyo position me yo muchwinywa wekwa mare wek jo Uganda mare ento uber down ma pe mare kariningo pien uber kana ki wai latin ma miena bielinge me cher ka chako ya and benedict ma da ko don ber la chako ya. In Acholi they say when a mother carries a child on the back several times and goes to pick chestnuts, eventually that child grows up to also go and pick chestnuts. So Museveni's son and Museveni and all of them came to Uganda with nothing. In fact, at a wedding of Tumwine, when he first came in the 1980 something, Museveni had no gift to give Tumwine at his wedding. What he told them, he said, you know what, I don't have any cattle to give you, but by the time you have your first child, I'll give cattle to your first child. Inano. So ati wachi Museveni karmayan donyo magidonyo gimayo gamente la wara makilwoni Tumwine magwa aked giki dilum kachani oberu kinyom Museveni no pe waki la tendyang wari mi kila wara madonyo meni kun Museveni wachi la rema we ana pe wa ke diang me mini ko bedi chawani ento kai bi nywa latin me achel abi kwanyu dia miu kun tamni ngo kai kade bed de settling mabewe de bi kwalu dia eno well dia matieno Uganda Kenya ko weng Johnny kwalu dia ko weng. All the cattle that these people have was stolen from Ugandans. All of it. Therefore, the ones expecting compensation for cattle, please forget it. Actually, those regions which had cattle, you must as well forget about compensation because the thieves took your cattle on purpose and will not reimburse or give that to you. Speaking of cattle and dairy, did you know that Museveni sold, when he first came to power, he sold Uganda Dairy to his daughter, Natasha, for $1 like this. You know, anytime a transaction happens, when to call something a transaction and not a donation, you must give the minimum amount possible for a transaction to be completed, for something to exchange from one hand to another. What Museveni did for this to look like a transaction, he gave Natasha, it's on record, the whole Uganda Dairy is for Natasha for $1 like this. One. Atia wachi, inero kita na bere wa dian wenga kwalo meginiwe. Wakda boki an anti na yang tiyu no dairy me Uganda Dairy. Ingeni karma Museveni gidonye gamente. Museveni ki kome o welo o charo dairy me Uganda idnyare pi dola ya chel kumae. Pien kag nit genu money kai mete gimoni ki luong ni wel unyo chat. O miere chilling mo o walking kom la chat ki ching la chari u chat bod la wel. Tiene ene rombe ru keri chilling apa unyo chilling a beat. Chilling mo ke kente dong chilling. Miere choni o chate bon ngari. So, chiene ma Museveni go charo Uganda Dairy kulu o charo bod Natasha kun charo $1 a day. Chilling a chel. Magu charo kere kigene. Ati history of corruption. This is the history of corruption. Since they came, they started with Greenland Bank and several other items, but the Diary of Uganda was transferred from a Ugandan entity into the hands of, privatized to Natasha for $1 or $1. Okay? They won't look at the old. So with the operation that Muhoozi is doing, they don't want to look at past history of corruption. They're looking at current to the future, which means they have already set aside what it is for themselves, and they feel comfortable with that. It is time to catch new prey, because they feel like if they look back, it is everything they have, basically. So corruption that they're trying to seem like they're acting upon is corruption from now henceforth, not way before. Yes, Kiki, also Uganda Commercial Bank, that is another asset that they privatized amongst themselves, got money for themselves amongst themselves, and the bank fell in activity. The bank, UCB Bank, failed because they privatized it and split it among themselves. All the thieves who came from the bush with Museveni took bits and pieces of what they found established by other governments like Obote and Idi Amin and shared it amongst themselves. Atia wachi, managa young Joe Museveni gubin, Greenland Bank gukwalo guporo ikingi, DIMA gukwalo guporo ikingi, UCB Bank madit mayang ti Uganda ni gukwanyo inakilwani privatization nad mano pore kingi kita igu mero manyuti kuo me jemi me Uganda o chake tek Museveni donyo li pap ki kwanyo ki poro ki cho nyingari pian gunge ni ngo gimo ke ken pere manyuti yo mo ke ken mi gin nongo gimo oberu yo me kuo ke ken neno. So that's about that. There was a meeting last night at State House by where the Interreligious Council was called. Kazimba Mugalu and the Anglican Church were all invited to go and meet with Museveni. Their main agenda is to make forcefully Ugandans to accept Muhoozi as the next president of PLU. Okay, so you're going to see sermons that somehow exude to the fact that Muhoozi is a good leader or is a young leader or whatever the case may be, but they have been paid. In fact, they were part of the group that decided that Namugongo Uganda Matters Day wouldn't be celebrated or would be cancelled. So they got paid for not being at the event because Museveni is most comfortable with having less people in Kampala gathering. So Uganda Matters Day was cancelled. While in their meeting, they were advised to, the Interreligious Council, to push Muhoozi's name in all religious activity. So their new job, Interreligious Council, is to sponsor Muhoozi's name, to basically sell Muhoozi. Okay? Ati wachi joma ludiru kanisa, ludiru odlega Katoli ki Anglican ki jomo kenani. Museveni oluonge la wo idiwo i State House kun wachi gini itika menigi assignment mechero ka wachu ka gene ka chatu Muhoozi chalu down malatela ma dobu dola tela Uganda manyuti jo ma kanisa ludiru kanisa dong teach gi pe me gene me bino ka meni wa gene glone spiritual support me bino ka meni wa gene lega kita miero bet kede gube bino gonka promoting Muhoozi wada Museveni kimini gibena chene gome gene pian gene matters lega or lega Uganda matters kiloro go pian kiwachi ebola tika bino ki Congo kacha manyuti kunyoni do we winyu lega ma uberu lega ma logo komtela dok bene no kernying Muhoozi ye menyuruni ena ela tela manyen madobo mago Uganda ineno pian wota Museveni danu kwero mada jo mado me mon jo makwen danu weng degi en bene ngeni danu degi Museveni be ngeni danu degi ento Museveni gi ngeni kache pege to dog lot chigo bi to lan danu benero gi ro ki chwe twin unyo ki be mago gi twe gi ro keri peke tuwegi Uganda kibi tuwegi kamoni manyuti ginado dongi gime atima keken ena ye doing lot kadi ningo anywhere nero dongi tima tata gi poda tata pene gi poda kin gini joma joni mete gine giduan ta abiti tu mogoti list kan. Okay, okay, somebody called Kalangwa. I've got some updates on that person. Okay, you heard yesterday that Kalangwa passed away in an accident, a motor car accident. So the story behind Kalangwa's passing yesterday, here's how it goes. So apparently Kalangwa, upon knowing that Janet Museveni has passed, and him being one of the proxy owners of a farm in Mubende called Ikula, okay? There's a farm of Janet for cattle called Ikula. It is a very, very prestigious farm with Frisian cattle only. And Kalangwa was one of the proxy owners or at least the leadership on the farm. Okay, so when Kalangwa learned of Janet's demise, Kalangwa decided to go and change the names of the farm into his name. Or at least change ownership or whatever the case might be. And the Muhoozis and Musevenis learned of it. So they decided to deal with him. Atia loko mlacho makilwoni Kalangwa. Ko neno la wo jaleani utoi accident la wo I Uganda kunu. Enta mira titu wukita jami na utemekere. Tone maeno tone. Ubero accident niko ni yoka kikima wakono ningo. Mutoka ne ki jamming ngo ki yo. Kun kimiete. Yes, Onesmus, I am mixing it. I am mixing both. So anyways, ati wachi jaleoni tone manu tone po bero accident niko no yoko yat kono yoko mutaka mukene. Mutaka ne beno kekena ye no accident. PM here's how it went down. So because nati wachi jal makelwoni Kalangwani eno beru dano mano yang gwa famo pa Janet Museveni pian mado Winnie Janet do toro otam ni don kare ne ro me en chero loko nying jemi ro nye ine ana pian Winnie betuan la kuori dai mukono ka cha nye raj makonye pe. So uchero cha oloko jemi go nyenta ta Muhoozi go winyo ni jali katika toki jemi wa. So gena gutemo uchero gu programming mutoka pa kalangwa go gukeru jama go ye meneno ni mutoka pian mutoka manyen kunyoni system me computer ti ye ini romo chero chinne ko mutoka go kikamoni kamukenne ngatu moni temu mutoka kweno mutoka pe yape no be pengwaju match bena pe bago ineno so gucher gutimo go la kirmani kenyu eno wera kar madon kalangwa gidong tika word me cher kamoni ni mutoka dong gene o failing go eno to ginongo accident jal mano ti mutoka ma driver pa kalangwa ni poto kitika yenye ne bana deda beri wai kala gene driver pa gene mukene minister so I'm saying that Kalangwa then started to change paperwork on Janet's farm, and Muhoozi and Museveni and so on, they learned of it. So they decided to deal with him in this manner, where they programmed his vehicle, because the car that he has is computer programmed. They programmed it such that at the appropriate time, they would stop the vehicle. They'll jam it so that it wouldn't move and wouldn't stop. And so it would get into a situation where it would have to hit something or get into an accident. And they did successfully. So Kalangwa was not supposed to survive. And any clinics around were meant not to be able to resuscitate, to get him back to a certain state of life. So they made sure it was in an area where he could not, no matter what they did, he couldn't make it anyway. Okay? So also Kalangwa, because he was kind of suspicious about things going south already, his brother, who was in the SFC, was also killed just recently. So a driver who was with Kalanga in that vehicle is being looked for, and if they find him, he would be in a whole lot of trouble. Okay? So ati wachi wajoma la choma driver mo beri mutaka neni bana kitika yenye ne pian en poto urien ke wanu manyuti ngare ni bana kakino kibiti kome neno. So meno ye security lat matikere ngat mo kene ma kuone bana tika la kirmani kenyu kilwani Nyombi Tembo. Nyombi Tembo is also a target for these people. There's something that he has done, or they're just trying to eliminate anything Museveni so that Muhoozi can have his government and his people peacefully. Okay? The other person I'd like to warn is King Saha. Apparently the Musevenis think that you are much like His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Therefore, they have paid Palazzo to basically make you disappear. So if you've seen any sites of accidents or some scary events, be careful, because it is true. It is very, very true. State House is on fire because of the information that we're getting all the time, all the updates, all the things that are going on in there. There's a lot of infighting between Museveni and his people. Aba you know ni dan makiloni Nyombi Tembo ni bena winyi kimiro kwa nyukwane o PN Museveni gi Mieti Muhoozi ubet ki jone ke kene gamente pejo pa gene pejo pa Museveni machoni PN Muhoozi wachi jone pe ware jone be pe mieti pe gi mie ruam charo en la diet manyuti Nyombi Tembo ingeni na di kenyu bu winyi gi motimo neno dan makilwoni King Saha a winyi ki or Palazzo wero charo titim gi mama raji ko my PN pe ki mieti down charo Bobby Wine da a ki Buganda miero down chalo Bobby Wine po a ki Buganda dare nyo po bera nywali me Uganda latin mo ken mo bukata ma we tiu loyo gene. Honorable Joel Ssenyonyi, in these matters of the Anita Among and corruption phase and all of that, Honorable Ssenyonyi has been put on target because they believe Muhoozi does not want Honorable Ssenyonyi to be in the next parliament, even as an MP or a leader of opposition. So, Honorable Ssenyonyi, wherever you are, Anita Among is being coached to say that you are part of the scheme somehow. Whether there is evidence or not, it doesn't matter to these people anyway, because all they want to do is to loop in Joel Ssenyonyi so that Muhoozi can arrest him and put him in prison for good. Muhoozi does not like Joel Ssenyonyi because he believes that Joel Ssenyonyi was the beginning and the source of all corruption probes in Uganda. By the time Anita Among was getting sanctioned by the United States and the rest of the Western world, Joel Ssenyonyi had already probed into Uganda Airlines, Kosase, through Kosase. He had gone through a few probes where he had found enormous corruption, okay? Down Makilwoni, Joel Ssenyonyi, Mauberu, leader of opposition, Komberi Chawani, when you parliament Mokate. Muhoozi, what I'm saying, wachi pe miro olo I parliament manyene. Manyuti, and piano ngayuni, o wajuni, Joel Ssenyonyi, ayoberu down mawio tiyo adeda, I parliament mokaroni, mo weko gamente pa Museveni kuberichani, lobo weng tika ketu wangi machalo gamente pa lukuoni. Pian Joel Ssenyonyi, ena yo chako, interview, Mauberu kangino jammi chalu koigo kong Uganda Airlines. Dago makimi uti new bed executive director me Uganda Airlines. Oberu down mo me po kwano pe waki certificate. Eno kimi ira teach PN wana yang uti ugibani ir Museveni. Mayan ben waji kidoga ni waji teach enini kimi ina mia PN kimi ina chalu meet PN gina baba na utimo. Ineno mono kitagamente pa Johnny tiu kwere Joel Ssenyonyi utimu research oko teng ana boki ui kare ma Janet Donyo igene ma Donyo igene hold on kare ma Janet Donyo. Let me see if I can do this way. Oh, perfect. Kare ma Janet ki yero beru minister me education minister me kwan ki yero Janet me beru minister PN. Give me noni, give you karatach me kwan, it jogi o weng, jogi mo ke ken matie ma pegi katach me kwan, give me runingo, ngati mo betie ma teacher custodian, ma guago kakak enu ne kikome. So, certificate pa ba muturachi gi, uberenko ni certificate ma Janet ge yo choyni, pe certificate ma da ni kono char kwano kununi. So I'm saying that the case of Bamuturachi at the Uganda Airlines was a case where the certificate, okay, she had never studied anything to do with business or managing an airline. But because she said that that position was awarded to her because of what her father was to Museveni, it had nothing to do with merit, that she earned it, that she has any knowledge of it, or anything like that. So Joel Ssenyonyi went and uncovered all of this and how much money was being siphoned out of the airline. And the fact that when Janet Museveni was appointed Minister of Education, it was purposefully so that Janet Museveni can sign on several different certificates for their people. Not because they truly have the education, no. Just because they are related or they are friends of their relatives. That's the only requirement you needed. So Bamuturachi's certificate was engineered by Janet unofficially just because she was going to head a place and her file needed to be complete, not because she actually had the credentials. So instances like that made her, I had Winnie also got some other certificates to embellish her position at the UN. Different people, some ambassadors went got posted to different embassies of Uganda abroad with certificates engineered in by the Minister of Education, Janet Museveni. And before that, you remember Makerere got burnt, right? The reason why Makerere and that area of Makerere got burnt before Janet Museveni officially became Minister of Higher Education, it was to make sure that those old history was burnt down and could not be retrieved and used again. Ati wachi ma putpia Janet Odonyo meberu minister. Wunuponi Makerere bi wangwe. Ikarma Makerere wangi kimiru no wango history mekwan padano weng. Work certificate manyene kaki choyo no pe kupe kitere money ka money ma tika money ni. Ineno kero mkere ka certificate rwen. Uchero gamu certificate. Manyen piano copy system kamoniko. Eni niki wow system macho no weng wek dine maja ka utia yenyu certificate pa jamoni ni. Pobi no, Pobi no tere wek dong certificate manyen makibi choy ni do beri why and I don't and original, So they made original certificates after burning the history so that all these new people now can get certificates. All these Rwandese got certificates just because they wanted certificates, not because they actually studied. The same thing they did with Bulange Mengo. Kabaka of Buganda received a lot of Rwandese refugees and had them registered and documentation in Bulange. Museveni said, I have to get rid of this history. What Museveni did was to burn Bulange Mengo, to burn up the history of him coming from a different country. And gina Museveni ubitemo kede me renew history ne kama yane ayene. Pian gina biyonsha riyan yela. Chika baka me Buganda bicho nyingi yako ogwako history gikwane kama kilwoni Bulange Mengo. Kare modong Museveni do tamni miere kwany history yako kita gene biyonu kede kono kinyeti bahaburu wako na nga gini. Ucherchi wango Bulange Mengo. Ochwenyo Bulange yako kimach. Kama kepa Buganda madano ki gwaka ne. Uno yo me kwanyu lugwa Kenya go umete chwenyu ka Kenya kimach. Ineno. Museveni kire eno. So that is how Ssenyonyi, that is why Muhoozi does not want Ssenyonyi, because Ssenyonyi continues to uncover their filthy history and corruption in every way. So Muhoozi now wants and is targeting Ssenyonyi. Please share this as much as you can. Muhoozi is personally targeting Ssenyonyi to eliminate him, to eliminate his life, and to make sure that he doesn't appear in the next parliament. Ssenyonyi's house is going to be staffed with money of all currencies, because Muhoozi wants to say that he found money in Ssenyonyi's house to corroborate what Anita Among is going to create, to say that she and Ssenyonyi have been working together. So Ssenyonyi, Muhoozi kita pe mete Ssenyonyi ubet kere parliament ni, unyo mete kuwana urwenyo, pian manaka Muhoozi mete Ssenyonyi utaro. Museveni bene, kila security pa Ssenyonyi wangapola ta, kiti Ssenyonyi nini, ento kuperichani Muhoozi kitika fonyu Anita Among ki story mo, kitika yupo story mo mawachi, mo bunyuru ni, Anita Among en kuo mayano bedaka kwale neni, opoko bene ki Ssenyonyi. So gina go bitimi ganga Ssenyonyi ye go be carry luak chene deda container me chene currencies mapat ki bi keru gankunu wek no wek diri manda ka Anita do katini be logo no history don't tikwane no chene don't ki bi chero ki bi yabu dogo la money ganga Ssenyonyi no ke keru ngech gina kina cha chera rio ngech no gwak me dan pe gang pengene. So ki Ssenyonyi ugwaka deda pien Muhoozi permiti any dog parliament enini pien ena ye kelu lok me lo nyu bapa Johnny kid nyutu chilu matikom Johnny neno. So Muhoozi meti e kwan ko pa Ssenyonyi go unyo e nen ni Ssenyonyi ki mao ki lwak chene piana Anita Among do be karte wachi ana ber ga tijwane Ssenyonyi mapa da ber unumba nan debate keta waru kede do bene debate pe tumber mabe jui neno meti wachi any beru ka tij gini Ssenyonyi wek dong dire mada ka dong Muhoozi gu chero kero chene mapat me lo mapat ganga Ssenyonyi gendero wachi ineno ko ama waji ni gena do ni chene ni gena bira tij gene jalle ke kuma no. Hi Scooby. Hey, 5551 East Bellevue. Speedway, Craycroft. Yeah, you've been there before. Sure. No problem. Thank you. Okay, bye. Okay, so gina we permette Muhoozi uberi gamente manyane pien ngeni gina Ssenyonyi pien ngeni Ssenyonyi riaga deda dok Ssenyonyi o kweru jemi o weng magober katimene atata ineno Ssenyonyi anu ko ber di beri parliament Anita Among mete na ria mako kino mokane pien logo dok penyu dok Ssenyonyi beru down mati dok down mada. So Ssenyonyi being an upright, intelligent, a man of this time and all of that, Muhoozi does not want him in that government, and so he's going to plant money in his home of all currencies so that it can corroborate with Amonge's story that they've been working together. The same thing, obviously you heard that Museveni ascended to the sovereignty bill yesterday. It is now law in Uganda. The sovereignty bill has become law. Bill Makilwani's bill me sovereignty ni. Museveni do kerchien go yela wo manyuto do do chik me lobo Uganda. Jo weng magamo chena ki wo do chero chichone machala wunu agent wadana makigang kujani au chero chichone kuno wachi wunu bedo agent pa gene pa wanegi mawati waga mawachalo chena it wuni. Yes, Benedict, they are going to plant evidence. It's at Ssenyonyi's home, at Joel Ssenyonyi's home. Okay? They don't want Joel and the other MPs of National Unity Platform. They surely do not want Joel back into parliament. Because first of all, the person they have picked, or both, I don't think in an argument with Joel, he can win Joel. Okay? So, yeah. Leakage of information from State House. SFCs are disappearing like crazy. They're killing them like flies. You know, SFC guys, if you just knew what to do to just take out 3 of those guys, you wouldn't have to worry about your life. Because as long as you stay, whether you give information or not, these guys are going to kill you. So it's up to you to do the right thing. It's up to you. Okay? They're going to continue burning schools and marketplaces like they've always done. They're trying to get people away from certain places, away from the city, away from Kampala. Now with Ebola coming in, remember during COVID, a lot of people died, a lot of dignified people, people in high places, commercials and this and that. People died a lot because it was the opportunity. You see, Museveni still uses COVID till today. He wears a mask every day. In fact, if anybody's going to visit Museveni, let's say Anita Among has an appointment with Museveni. Do you know that Anita has to be tested for COVID first? This day and age, today. I'm not talking yesterday or 3 months ago. Today, if somebody wants to go and see Museveni, they have to be tested for COVID. He has used and milked COVID to the maximum. To the maximum. Ati wachi, Museveni wakunyoni. Putika tichi loki COVID ni. Man ene bola poro en. Openeka kidano matek. In ngarumoni ma gimete gene kwan kuoni ni. Teri chere oriyad donki bi wachi Ebola. Kituki dini kikuno dong pede bi dugugang. Unjo amauti target. Unjo achon jo pa Museveni gini. Undo ku. Kai cher miri oriyara tata. Niko ni ya beri. Kwa Winnie. Kibituki wachi Ebola. Daki ya do ipe. Pien ginge ni Ebola nero dano uyoro. Pien Museveni wakuperichani fudruku mask. Kuntime ni COVID dugu. Ninyo iluar COVID. Makun COVID utumwa mwaka bija ngech. Watin Museveni food kangar mo bocher kale Museveni. Munu ne ano jo mogo macher kale Museveni genbe ruku mask. Kipimu dano ya. Kipimu dano ka kineni wakineni ka nyogiti ki COVID. Nyoka pere. Watin enini. Man ene bola porni we. Do bokonyo gede da pien gi meti dano bed gang. Dano po beta warata pien gi luone gamente gi obitu chawa moke ken. Neno. Johnny luo de da. Man areas mogo donki kinako. Gumako gugwai dano miana po wore atata. Nongo neko. Jo mabo wore area ma gina tun Kampala kachani. Abi titu area makunu. Kiwachit SFC kuberichani. Okay, I gotta say this in English first. So with Ebola coming, just word that it happened in Congo and it's coming into Uganda. Like 1 person has died of it, and there is no attached other cases. But Museveni and his family are very excited about this. They want to use this to the maximum. Benedict, he uses that because he hopes if Museveni could engineer a disease that could keep all Ugandans on lockdown, he'd be peaceful. He has tried. He has brought Chinese, Koreans to try to generate something that could cause a lockdown again. He just hasn't succeeded yet. But with Ebola coming, he's ready for it and he's very happy about it. In fact, Museveni has deployed 47 SFCs And people from CMI, 169 people from CMI have already been deployed to beat and kill people in these areas of Mengo, Natete, and Rubaga. I don't know why these areas are specific, but people who will be up and around without following the SOPs, you know, the SOPs, in these areas, there is SFCs and 47 SFCs and 169 CMI members already ready to shoot and kill anybody in those locations. They already have trucks that will be picking up those dead bodies anyway and taking them. They probably want to harvest internal organs. These people are nuts, okay? We have a crazy piece of people called the government. Crazy. So, Joma Aki Kampala area Mogo Makwano ni. Bakadwa gini. The area Makwano ni ko. Bakakwane wo. Awachi kikero SFCs Pingwana Biero. Kijo mati CMI Mia Cheli Piara Bichele Bongwen. Kikerugi area Makilwani Natete. Mengo Kirubaga. Ki area Mokane Tunku no. Nika guneno dano mapetika lopo sops nyo SOPs wununge sops ikarme COVID sops beritie jo mapetika lopo genani miar ki chelgi ki nek giro ki area egini inge kenyu no mutaka magamu kom dan duata ki bigamu gi ka kiteru gi kamone ngara do nge pe pian wununge ni water Museveni achel mani maunyo no pangyo kira kalwa kare kleba choli ento tie chwanya Museveni achel moni ni oberu danu macharo jami me idanu adunu gi internal organs tibis inke go I ota Museveni chwanya Museveni charo internal organs tongwangi adunu gi obogi dano may neno ken mo ken ta nyul ten mo ken ma to gi rwenyo ni no ki gam ki tero gi ariat gi kunu ka ki baro I dano ka ki kwan jimi weng ma be me I dano gi char ko ilo ma pat Johnny Rajuba gang pa Museveni wa kanwo I ata Museveni chwa nya Museveni charo internal organs jami mati I dano eno wa lo teno nu uto tu mo ni jo maki mako gi ma pedong wanano gini no ki chero ki golu I gi ko ubogi adunu jemi weng no ki golo ko meno business ma water nya Museveni timo inke go water nyare charu gina internal organs dagone Minister of Education one president wode leader of military or mene leader of economy wunko go. I'm saying, take a look at this. Museveni's own son-in-law is in the sales of internal organs. And we wonder why a lot of Ugandans disappear and we never see them again. It's because they take them, like this order with the Ebola of to shoot and kill, they're really going to shoot normal, able-bodied people, take them, cut them up, take out the internal organs, take them to the market for sale. That is how this is going to go. It is not because they are going to do it for the right reasons. No. We have had no case of Ebola of a Ugandan or none that is traced to the deceased person. But they are going to use the opportunity because it serves them right now. Okay? They have been celebrating the announcement of Ebola by World Health Organization. I already told you that. They hope to run the country on the Ebola news for the next 2 or 2.5 years. Go watch it. Another Ebola porniwe upotigidong mabe. Dongo be mago lot kill nying to Ebola. Mabu do mwara ario kinuchu. Mano kitika wachi Ebola futie. Manyu de ubi lor we woke are. Waratata bu berupe. Beratata bu berupe. Beru free bu berupe. Dongo be locking down la boy what down weng mir bedgang icha money mir timini dongu be door kita wajin Museveni futamani Ebola futie watini we go be door gamente ni mwagario kinuchu makun ki wachi ebola futie awai Museveni chulu wa media ma wa oya we go watch give money a che kedi line a che leken no do karo ka wen BBC ano ko chwaru line a che mem news mo ken karo cher ka wen. Lydia, good to see you. Asha, thank you. Okay, the beach of His Excellency Chagulanyi Sentamu Busabala Beach, Muhoozi plans to remove it. Hence the little Twitter or the tweet that Muhoozi sent saying that Bobby Wine does not remember Arua. He survived Arua. Now he's going to just kill him. Neno. Muhoozi wachi ganga Bobby Wine makilwani Busabalani tung magereka chani. O watchini be you are only when ganga Bobby Wine double better pay. The whole boy with Bobby Wine, why Bobby Wine in we po in 2018 in Mwahali Bario Kapara Boro, my mirto reaching anyway. Enemy for the buya. Dobi Timmy catch a murray baby quad or a bin nerati a kerbergin a peja kenyo. Let the Johnny very way we badly. We in any way yamba. Inano, okay, Rugina Kitty Enuni online, Twitter, Kaigo, Jalila Jagada. Unpurtani Muhoozi we nano. I don't think he's normal. I think something, honestly, with so many people they've killed, Museveni has had to have some things following him and into his son. You know, God doesn't punish only the individual. He punishes generations. And I think Museveni is punished further down. And we're yet to see, but we won't, because this is going to end right here. Okay? Muhoozi went to Anita's home today, and in a container, in a basement at one of Anita's homes, in fact, the home in Chigo, I understand Anita has a shrine built in there where there are human and animal bones. But it serves them right because they're all in the same boat. Museveni himself is always doing witchcraft. It serves them right that Anita among, I guess that is draw, 1 and 1, okay? I don't need to go into that detail. I want to dive into something that, give me just a second. I want to dive into a coded message that was sent by Muhoozi to the people who are supposed to perform these activities. Amiro wachiwu message mama Muhoozi uchwalo kujo ni dongi chwalo message mano kitimu codes peno logada peno log my roman yang kai kwana pecha leb mono nyo leba chuli nyo leb gimoni no ke choy mo ke choy ki codes. So I want to read to you a very coded message by the Muhoozis, but we were able to get somebody in the police to decode the message so that we can share it. Okay? The message says that it's not too late to do the needful. Okay? And this is an aggressive message. This is an aggressive, okay. So there's in this, one of the first messages is that everybody close to Anita Among, anybody close to government workers should be disappeared or should be taken away. Kite waji jo weng mo ber katich ki Anita jo mo ber chok Anita wai chalo house girl gi nga gini weng mira ki kwan jo la ling pegu nen ka mo ke ken inero. They should also arrest people of NSSF, URA, UNRA, which is Roads Authority, NWSC, and that is a confirmed message. Jo mo ken ma mira ki mak jo me National Social Security Fund, jo me URA, jo me UNRA ber chalo jo guri, National Water, mira ki mak yo bene. They have confirmed all those. They are also going to eliminate 4 high-ranking officials. Kiwachi officers nyolumon angwen. Kibirwenyu kwa gero. Omiera benaki mak joma permanent secretary me ministry ma part. They should also arrest all permanent secretaries in different ministries. there should be a lockdown in Kampala, Wakiso, during Ebola time. Ni karme Ebola enini, umiere ki lo genaro, ki ket lockdown area me Kampala, ki Wakiso. Ikar en make wachi ni Ebola enini. Miere diversion of my poll, where down po Tamgi Ministry of Health to trial, so that people are not focused a lot on the Ministry of Health operations. They want to increase diversion. So if you see a lot of nonsensical things, please don't pay attention. Okay. The other thing is that they should aggressively arrest senior police officers, UPDF, and threaten them, so that they are not allowed to speak on the things that they have done or have committed. So kiteo bachiki mak jo ma police mati senior kilo mon mati senior ko where kinong yo ma where pegulok jame mo magero na ano nyogu temone. CDF, which is Muhoozi, is now supposed to take command of all power in Uganda. Ni Muhoozi dong miero makitela kijami weng ilobo Uganda. Kadi ningo wona dong pobi beru la tela pobi telo gimoy kana Uganda. En CDF ayedo beru ngo la tela me Uganda madano weng miero ngeni. Jo mati gamente kibi mako gi kimako ki wako kimako mogo pedugu kimako la kirma ni Kenya. Jo weng matiu I government office mapat kibi mako gi mo kibi mako gi renyoko. There's going to be severe abductions of government workers. They'll be arrested or abducted in any form or anyhow at any time. You will not have time to question or get answers for what you need. There will be just random abductions. Okay? Anita Among has had all her 3 passports confiscated. They were discovered at her residence and will be taken to court, then prison. Kiwachi Anita Among kino passport matiki nye gena dek igange kolo. Adek kolo. Passport melo mapat. Manyutu no en romo chero. Kekete romo don America makun luonga nino eni beru. Down ma aki Sudan. Unyoroma chi eni down ma aki South Africa. Unyoroma chi eni down ma aki Uganda. Manyuti Anita Among no do yupero. Nge ni encha moy ken jamirom beru rach. So that where any kari ki yo mo ken ma eni tuero. So Anita Among knew that things could turn very fast, and so she prepared herself, okay? She did, with having 3 different passports from 3 different countries. Those she would be able to get out, maybe not go to the Western world, or maybe she thought she would go to the Western world as a different person, because as you know, she's in, a few stages of skin color. It'd make it easy. Okay? There was lots of containers with different items at Anita's home. A lot of money. Some dead bodies in there that he, Muhoozi wondered what they are all about or which people. So if those dead bodies were planted, then Anita is in a deeper hole than she thought. Because Muhoozi and Museveni never work with you and don't have a crime against you. Something to bring you to your knees. So because in the containers at one of Anita's residences in Chigo, they found a bunch of bones, which could either mean that they could say Anita killed somebody. That means she'll never come out of prison. She also has poison that she's ingested. That's going to take her just like that. In case she survives, there is no way she's coming back. In fact, Bukedia is up for by-elections because today Muhoozi said she might as well not even run for member of parliament because she already lost in the other items. She already lost as speaker. She might as well not be a member of parliament. Muhoozi is still punishing Anita. And yet, Muhoozi, his whole being is based on corruption. But it's only convenient because Anita Among has been singled out, has been sanctioned, and she was given all the tools to become a corrupt figure by his father, by Museveni. So, in as much as they're trying to show that they're working on this, they really are the symbol of corruption in that country. Atia wachi Muhoozi gikerit gitimeni giendong gimero lwenyi komanita tutwale. Guno ni lwenyi komanita yot pien. Anita oberu latien Uganda. Anita oberu down mauti ubodgi. Giena yeme oke Anita jam metich kere me kwalu down tata. Awinyi iganga Anita kino chogo down mau top matika top kino chogo le matika top. Manyuti peko pa Anita piya dok chenne keken. Pien ka ke rokwano ne ki kwano bale ki wachi down mo tobe na no tigangi. Manyuti in ani ki buj dong pere. In any way, Anita has no chance of leaving prison or escaping because now it's not just corruption. She also has dead bodies in her yard, in the container in her home. Whether she did do that or they planted it to incriminate her, that is how Museveni's government is. All these people who work for Museveni who are still happy. Museveni has something on them, like he did to Sebagala. In history, you remember when Sebagala got into politics, Mr. Seya, as people knew him. Sebagala wanted to run for president at one point. And as you know, Museveni, he picks the good ones from the opposition and brings them into NRM so he can use them. But before Museveni stops laughing with you, he gathers a lot of dirt, including planting it if you don't have enough. So Sebagala goes and starts to plan on running as an opposition leader for his own party. He had a briefcase party. Museveni says, "Oh, my friends, Seya, come, let's have tea, let's have dinner, let's meet." So Seya goes to Museveni, and Museveni says, "Oh, I heard you want to run for president." He said, "Yeah, oh, I'm going to." And Museveni said, "By the way, you know, I heard of some sort of investigation going on you, but I never paid attention. Why don't we look at them together? Let me try to get this out here. Why don't we look at the paperwork? I saw the police was saying, I think this, that, and the other. Let's take a look at this thing or these things together." And before Seya could say another word, Museveni brought him to his knees. That the next time people saw Seya was when he was at a delegates conference standing behind Museveni, as in to support Museveni. That is why in this past election, you could tell that all of the members, the leaders of opposition for the different parties, ended up saying they wouldn't vote for themselves. Reason being that Museveni compromised them. Museveni always has something on you. While you smile with him, he's gathering information for the biggest kill of you. So Sebagala ended up not running for president as he had planned, and ended up joining Museveni and appearing next on the delegates conference of the NRM. There's only one way to exist, and that's why Museveni is baffled by Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. About a story mawachi Museveni down when Matiyuki Museveni mano food ena food yo men food tie woni Museveni ni what no lock machilu come in kape ki gina chilu meket na kom ni chao romu ketu gimo chalu gangi romu ketu romu staging romu bolu lie loga de kali romu timigi mama in kan wi chungo gimama pay romu kwar ne in ke go kong jo mo ber pasta in Museveni no okay o terlo tena nyera slay queen ni mechar ka beru ket gero mago video gero kak Johnny chwalo bot Museveni dire mara don ka don metif lu tela kanisa ne do tim do lok gi mo chalo ko beri chano or gini ko chilok Muhoozi kun gi bar Muhoozi ni down mo pero mo kwero gina Museveni wachigi piano giti position mo mat ding adeda pian kai kat romano don romano itoro no konya kuoni dong pe ke go father mo nyo pastor mo kai kaki kelo en kuri lokene so gien ma Museveni guno Muhoozi tim chigo ganga Anita kacha niki no chogo dano mapud didiak mangweje bena raje dida kino chogule manyutini peko pa Anita bo ki corruption makonye pe manyuta Anita pe dong bidugu chalo MP dok Anita bitoy buch kape poison mati komeni ena yotiago monu kita Museveni tiyu kere ngad mageloni Seya Sebagala yang Kampala obi ni ende bi cher ka chung chalo president opposition en ngeni mer ki chung ata Museveni luwa wai Seya kay bin kan kong. Uchero chi meeting ki Seya ko wai Seya. A Winnie yini mier ber president do wai amir chung ke di bene. Yini chung NRM mana chung partner. Museveni wai kenen kong report any ba. No report any ki bot jo me police mago ber ka team investigation. Ini Winnie gine ni. Tek miu report bot Seya. Tuan lok mo makitika ya tunay nying Seya ma Seya dong ikar ma Seya dong kinero Seya dong ikar mo kan Seya obinu kun binu machalo delegate pa NRM pedong mechung ipatne kita enno imiate chungi mano kita Museveni tiyu kere ke kuko. My battery is dying. Sorry, my battery is dying, so I'm gonna have to hold one phone like this and talk to the other. Okay. So that is how Museveni operates. If you can't join him, he will eliminate you. And that is why he's baffled. Kuberichani Museveni gena Chagulanyi Center mutiga bar we Museveni adida PN Museveni no utemu ki yo weng menano ni ikelo Bobby Wine meberi NRM ento Bobby Wine ukwero mada okwero da kwero ginu weka Museveni yenyi Bobby Wine men negani tina ni wodo wachi ebi nego Bobby Wine kwa kun choi Twitter bena tima da ko ne romo no kome pien gin tamoni takom era ye yo melano dano, which is not the case. They think everything has to be through the barrel of the gun. It's not always the case. So these people, because they can't survive any other way than being in leadership, than being in the government, they will have to die trying. That is why SFC people, you are getting killed every day, being accused of giving us information. Why don't you just do the right thing so that you guys may have a chance to live? You just might live, because I understand every single day a few of you disappear and you never see them again because they're suspicious of you passing out this information. You just might as well. Yes, Mehdi, yes. So I didn't finish the story of Seya. Eventually, Seya was poisoned and he died. And that's how Museveni eliminates opposition. Nan magalwani Seyani, ikarma dong, beru dong, beru president dong ayo. Museveni miyo ya, Seya metita okumeno. Inano. Museveni ka impero mutich kere inana kena gucher guti wegamente pa Museveni ni. Ka pero muketu ni bot en, igamente pa NRM wang mo neri. Man joma ti case pa nita, joma berga timu, Jomo mo ber ka tich Anita, mo ber ka endorsing Anita, mo ga mo chena kibora Anita monge. Weng diri maja kesi enini, obido makibi gamu wuno weng, tie jomo go titungulu kenyo, uber ka endorsing mo choy ko video, temu video, recording video, kun wacha Anita mong kwa ngongongo, waribuch. So all of you that have worked with Anita somehow, that have, that have endorsed her, that she has given you money, that there's record of such a thing, you are all going to follow Anita Among. If you're smart, you can start packing and leaving. But if you stay, you must answer, because Muhoozi says he's going to make sure. Yeah, Benedict, that's true. Okay? I think that's all I have today. I hope SFC and people in the military, your targets anyway, your targets, the old military officials who have been in Museveni's government for so long, the older NRM people, the executives of different departments or ministries. Muhoozi wants to eliminate you, but I'm talking to people who have power to take these people out of to take them out of our misery. Why don't you do? It takes so little because it's going to take all of you. When Muhoozi decides to poison, and I understand there's going to be several events later in the future where they can do more of this, why don't you just do something so that we can all survive, including you, especially you, because you are in the line. Nyombi Tembo, you are in line. I just mentioned the security alert that has your name and a stamp. In the next few days, you may not be here. Okay? Why don't you people just choose to do the right thing? Those of you who are still working for Museveni, I mean, what do you expect? How many funerals are we going to go to? And you notice that it's not just Uganda, it's not the Rwandese who he's punishing. It's the Ugandans. He's not punishing Rwandese people. Ati wachi, wunjo mauti mon, wuti office mada, wuti police, wuti SFC, kuno mara mudoro, ungeyo yo me konyo waki jani. Pingo po konda mono. Pien wunuti line. Dili manek bubi chere off wigina in party ko meeting, no ke paro yato ki wunweng. Konye ngo. Lutino wuma bo wegoni, utamo ni ngo kom lutino enne. Pien wunjo mo ken dongi balu nyingu ma latino ube parombe wa class monitor. Piano nyiu bala deda. Kuberichani jami weng madano magina lok weng maraji ma aki bod jocha kelu yom chwin keken. Ke go Museveni luoru watch ni janero to. Pien luoru ni dano do pati do beri madom petum. Pingo po tim gina tware. Au kon dano ukon bene gangu ukon nyeke kenwu, because this is not just about Ugandans. No. Not just about some few. No, it's not about opposition. It is about being Ugandan. First, like I said, know who you are and stand firm. That's all you need. Nga ma initie, ini bed down mu betining. Nga gi matika timo down ningi. Wun kong poro mu kejo. So anyways, I've got to go. Afoi wadeda, anenu wudok dire. Ubed mabe. Mr. Joel Ssenyonyi, please be careful. Everybody share this as much as possible, that Muhoozi Kainerugaba wants to get rid of Joel Ssenyonyi's life. He also plans on setting him up with a money laundering scheme, because Anita Mong is being coached to say so. So please, please let him know. Share this as widely as possible. I will bring some more information tomorrow, but that's what I've got for today. I will see you all tomorrow. Stay blessed. I love you so much. Take good care of yourselves. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Take care. Bye-bye. Asha, I agree with you. Lydia, thank you. Thank you so much.